Hi, and welcome to OwenGreaves.com. This podcast is called The Future of Business, Two Camps. Recently, I heard an interview that challenged me. In fact, I would say it changed my life. It changed my attitude towards my work and how I go about doing it. What is my work, you ask? Well, if you're new here, I'm a futurist, a thought leader. I help you understand a new business model that forces all of us to leave the industrial way of doing work and business behind. I teach and preach the open and free business model, where 90-10 rule is in effect. It's the new equation. You give away 90% and charge for 10%. In effect, it turns business upside down. More importantly, my work is a freedom message. It's a mindset. And you know, mindset trumps skill set every time. Now, it's possible you haven't heard about it. You probably don't know what it means and what it stands for. But that alone makes it interesting. How can it possibly help you? How can it generate revenue? How do you go about implementing the model? All great questions. Each and every one of us knows something isn't working, but we're just too resistant to change it. But we must change it. In fact, we don't have a choice anymore. The open and free business model is a new way to disrupt your industrial age thinking. What's interesting is, though, is the level of resistance to it. Resistance to accepting the truth about business. Resistance to admitting the industrial age way of organizing and delivering work is simply dead. It just doesn't work anymore. Now, the heart of the open and free business model is simply this: to do something, to make something, and give it away. But do work that matters. Connect with people, lead those people, deliver regularly. Make a difference in the world. Simply put, answer the question, how many people are better off because you lived? Now, the list doesn't work by itself. You truly have to change the way you think. You have to unlearn and learn new ways of getting things done to disrupt your default patterns. It takes work. It takes hard work. Now, the how-tos are the easy part. Changing the way you think is much more difficult. The biggest hurdle is the fear of loss. This fear is at the very core of the open and free business model. It's to become a minimalist in delivering products and services, to simply do something, and you will find your place in a community. Now, these communities are basically made up of two camps. They decide whether it happens and if it's useful. The two camps are, number one, you. Number two, your fans. You will have to learn to embrace and trust both camps. You know, for the first time in history, you get to decide. You get to do the work you've dreamed about. All we need is for you to do it, to do something. The cost of doing nothing is far greater than the cost of failing. It is a paradigm shift, but only you can flick the switch. Your fans, they will decide whether what you do is useful, whether it's valuable. They'll tell you who they are, and they'll tell you if they are a true fan. Now, if any of this resonates with you, then you've been convicted. You can no longer ignore the voice inside of you, and you have to do something about it. You have to flick the switch. Well, I hope this was helpful for you today, and be sure to listen again for another session on the open and free business model. Feel free to leave questions and comments below. Let's change the world together.